Hello, and welcome to this week's Morning Mobility Live session. We're going to do about 20 to 30 minutes of light movement, mostly mobility, a little bit of stretching. All you need is some space, maybe a yoga mat, and a little bit of a balance assist for a few of these, which could be a chair or the wall. We'll go ahead and get started. So for this first one, you just need to stand with your feet about a ruler distance apart and your hands straight forward. And then we're going to bring one arm all the way back and forward, and then alternate the other side. And while I'm doing this one, it's for our upper back mobility. So I'm thinking about pulling my shoulder blades together as I bring that hand backward to get a bit of a squeeze in that upper middle back. So alternating one side and then the other, just going right at your own pace, not too fast, not too slow, and really thinking about keeping an active upper back position, squeezing those shoulder blades, and we'll hit one more on each side. As always, our circuits will have 3 exercises that we'll do 2 times each. So our second exercise is going to be a body weight squat. And for this one, how low you go depends on you. We'll start a little shallow and then we'll show you increased depth as we get going. Feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, so a little wider than you just had them. And hands just in front of you here. You're going to reach your butt back and down a little bit as if you're reaching for a chair that's just behind your heels, and then come back up. So squats, as you may know, a great strength exercise, but they're also a great way to warm up your body by getting some activation of the quads, glutes, hamstrings. Our core is on. As you get comfortable, if you want to try sinking a little bit lower, you definitely can. You just want to make sure that your knees aren't caving together as you go down, but they're staying in line with your kind of big toe and second toe. We'll hit one more. And then our third one is the one where you may or may not need a little bit of balance assist. So potentially have a chair or a wall near. We're just going to do a single leg balance. So hands by your sides, raising this leg up in front of you. If that starts to work the quad a little bit, you can keep your leg lower. But you're just going to try to think about stacking all of your joints from head to foot on top of each other. That makes it easier to balance than leaning back or forward or side to side. And then think about spreading your foot on the floor. Sometimes we curl up those toes and really tense and tighten. And then we'll try on the other side. Totally normal if one side feels a little bit more balanced than the other. Often a focal point helps. And although this exercise is more balance than mobility, we're still really engaging those muscles, especially of the leg, supporting the knee and this upright torso position. It's just a great one to do to work on that body awareness, balance, and proprioception. Hold on for a few more seconds. And then rest. So we'll repeat this circuit one more time through, starting with our band. I call these bow and arrows, because you're kind of bringing that arm back like a bow and arrow. Really trying to squeeze the shoulder blades. Sometimes mobility exercises can seem really easy, and they often are, but often it's a matter of thinking about what you're engaging that helps you get the most out of them. So if I really think about my right shoulder blade pulling back when my right arm goes back, and my left shoulder blade when my left arm goes back, I can get a little more out of it and it becomes more active than just passively moving the arm. We'll do one more on each side. Wonderful. And then move into our second one, which is that body weight squat. Again, feet a little wider, making sure you think about the knees staying in line with your toes and lowering down. Maybe it's just halfway, or maybe now that we've done one round, it seems like you can get a little bit lower. Try to think about keeping that chest up. Like if you had a logo or something on your t-shirt, you could see it if there was a mirror in front of you, versus collapsing way over on the squat. We want to engage the core and keep that torso upright. Okay, we'll do one more of these. Wonderful. And then we'll go back to the single leg balance. So pick your favorite foot. Think about just tightening your core a little bit, not a huge crunch, but just a little bit of engagement where you can feel that tightness a little. And then when you're ready, lift up that foot. If you need to tap it on the ground occasionally, that's totally fine. Just have your hands anywhere they're comfortable. It could be at your sides, on your core. And just try to breathe and spread those toes. Helps you find the ground. Hang in there for 5 more seconds. And then switch sides. Again, finding a focal point may help. Try to make sure you're not leaning backwards and kind of engaging that lower back. We want to use the core to keep you upright. And try to have your breath go in and out as normal as possible. It's okay if that breathing rate's increased a little bit since we're working, but try not to hold your breath or take too shallow of breaths. And then set that leg down. Alrighty. So we'll move into our second circuit. And this one, if you need balance support for this, you're gonna back up really close to a wall, and that'll be your position. If you don't need balance support, you'll be just a little bit in the middle of your space. And then you're gonna bring one leg up and tuck it to your chest, and then switch legs and bring that other leg up to tuck to your chest. So just alternating sides. A nice gentle tug. You're not trying to kind of yank or jerk that knee up too much. Just compressing that hip flexor. It's also getting a little stretch in the back of the hamstring. We'll do one more on each side. Wonderful. For our second one, we need to be on the floor with a little bit of padding underneath your knee. So if your floor is really hard, you may want to kind of double up your yoga mat or even use a cushion for underneath that knee. And we're going to do a hip flexor stretch with reach. So if left knee is down, left hand is at the shoulder. And then before you go, make sure you're not arched at the lower back, but that you've tucked your hips. And then you're going to push forward as you reach up and a little bit over. So mostly reaching up with your arm on the side of your head, but also a little bit over and then back to the start, bringing that hand all the way back down to the shoulder. It's not a huge movement, but do make sure that the hips are moving forward and then moving back. It's not happening at the back, it's happening at the hips. And then we'll switch sides. Again, balance support if you need it. And then tuck that core, right knee down, right hand at your shoulder, and push the hips forward as you reach up and a little bit over. Making sure to think about breathing. Maybe you're exhaling as you reach up, but just as long as your breathing is fine. Thinking about moving the hips forward and bringing them back versus bending over at the back. One more. And rest. Very good. All right, and then our third one is going to be some windmill rotations. For these guys, you're going to be on your side with your knees tucked up, so you're 90 degrees at the hip, and then your hands are pressed together, reaching forward with your shoulders stacked on top of each other. And then you're going to flip that hand to face the ceiling as you go all the way around in a giant circle. We're going up towards your head first, like you're going around the hours of a clock. And usually following your hand with your eyeballs is a great way to make sure that in this back area, you get as much range of motion as you can. All the way around. And one more time. Wonderful. And then we'll switch sides. You can flip over or spin. Again, hands straight forward, knees tucked up so you're 90 degrees at the hip. And then flipping that hand over as you go all the way around. So there's a little bit of a twist in the torso. Also mostly for shoulder mobility. You might feel it, especially in this back part here, a little bit of a stretch in that chest and shoulder area. It's exactly what we're looking for. Don't force it, but just try to keep that arm as close to the ground as you can when you're going around the numbers on the clock. Wonderful. Alrighty, so that's our second circuit. We'll repeat it one more time, starting with those alternating knee hugs. Again, back against the wall if you need a little balance support, but we're bringing one leg up, hugging it to the body, other knee up, a little bit of a tug. So as always, a lot of these exercises are things that you would do in a dynamic warm-up before a strength training session. They're also good to do before a cardio session. If this is what kind of movement feels good today, that's also great. But this is really a nice way to have your body warmed up and a lot of your joints taken through a range of motion before doing something like a strength workout. We'll do one more on each side for these. Wonderful. And then we'll go back to the hip flexor with reach. Again, if you need any extra cushion for that bottom knee, or if you need a little balance assist, feel free to grab it. And again, that hand comes all the way back to your shoulder each time. Start with that rib cage tucked down, and then reach up and a little bit over. A lot of times people like to really bend to the side, but it's more of an upward reach because that helps us get this stretch, especially in our hip flexor, right at the front of your hips. Not going for too much of a side stretch, just up and a little bit over. Hips move forward, hips come back. One more for this side. And then take your time. Changing sides, give you a moment to get there. Again, starting with that core tucked. Right hand at right shoulder if your right knee is down. And then forward and back. Reaching up, bringing that thumb all the way back down to your shoulder each time. That just gets us full range of motion, even at the shoulder, which is always good. We'll do 2 more of these. Wonderful. And then we'll go back down for the windmill rotations. So again, knees tucked all the way up. Sometimes people like to let their knees be down there. So bring them up, hands start reaching out front, and then flip that palm over as you go around and back to the start. These are one that's good to do nice, slow, and controlled. Make sure you're not rushing through it. Also make sure that palm is facing towards the ceiling when you start that move around the circle. And one more time. Excellent. And then flip yourself over onto the other side. This is one that you usually notice the second round. You might be able to keep that arm a little bit closer to the floor. The shoulder feels a little more loosened up, which is always nice. That's something you'll notice you notice it with stretching, you notice it with mobility, is that first set might feel really tight and it might not feel good. It might feel a little more like exertion. And then that second round, things are a little more warmed up and it feels a little bit easier, a little bit better. One more of these. And rest. Alrighty, very nice. So we're on to our third circuit. Again, one that you want a little bit of cushion underneath your knees. We're going to be in the hands and knees position here with a flat back, not arched, not rounded, just nice and flat in the middle. And then we're going to do a side leg lift, keeping your knee bent. So choose whichever leg you want to start on, and then just raise it up to the side, however high it comfortably goes. A lot of people want to kind of use momentum to get their knee up there, but just go with a natural range of motion, stopping at that upper limit. And we'll try the other side. So again, really smooth, slow and controlled, not jerky at the top. You'll notice this uses the core a little bit to stabilize. One more. And rest. Wonderful. Then for our second one, we're doing low cobra lifts. So these are going to be largely for your lower back and for the front of your core. So position yourself on your stomach with your thumbs by your shoulders again and your head barely off the ground. And then you're just gonna lift up a little bit and lower back down. The reason we're not doing a huge lift up is because we're on the internet and I don't know about your spine and how much a deep extended lift would feel good or irritate your spine. So these low lifts are a nice safe range of motion for everybody. You might notice it engaging the core. Make sure you're not straining your neck up. Just kind of look down. I'm looking about here, a few inches down my mat. And I'm trying to keep my shoulders really open as I lift. And rest. Good. We're staying on the floor for this circuit. So flip onto your back for the third one. We're going to do some heel slides with a little bit of core engagement. There's a little bit of core in this whole third circuit. And to start, have your hands on your abs just below your ribs, and then press your spine into the ground. See if you notice that engaging your core, and try to keep that as you slide one heel away from you and back in, and the other heel away from you and back in. Try just to keep that light tightness. It shouldn't be a full crunch. Just a nice little bit of tension, helping to keep that lower back on the ground. And then the challenge is with that little bit of core tension, and while thinking about your legs, also try to breathe semi-normally. And rest. Wonderful. I will run through this circuit one more time as well, starting with those side lifts from our hands and knees position. I'll let you find your way there. Also find your way to a flat back. And then when you're ready, lift up one leg to the side. Hopefully you can notice this is working hip mobility. Again, smooth. Make sure you're also not collapsing into the shoulders, but arms should just be straight. Posture always long. And switch sides. Find that flat back position. And raise the knee out to the side. Pay attention to your breath. One more. And rest. Very nice. Then find your way down onto your stomach. Take a nice big breath in. And then when you lift, maybe exhale. Just coming up a little bit. Using that front part of your core to help you lift up. Shoulders stay really nice and open, not rounded forward. And chin stays slightly tucked. Just small lifts. If it felt good, you could go a tiny bit higher. But really a small range of motion here is really all that you need. We'll do 2 more of these. Last one. And rest. Very good. Find your way again back on to your back for our heel slides. And for these, again, hands on your core. It's a nice reminder of that engagement. push the lower back into the ground so that there's full contact there. And then straighten out one leg, alternating sides. Again, this is slow, controlled movement, not too fast. Making sure to breathe. Good news is this is your last exercise of the day, and then you should feel warmed up, mobile, ready to take on whatever's next. We'll do one more on each side. Keep that core engaged. And rest. Alrighty, well done. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this made you feel really good. If it did, please share this with a friend or check out HelloStrengthSeniors on Instagram for more posts that are geared towards seniors and helping you feel your best and move your best at any age. And I will see you next Tuesday for our next live mobility session. See you then.